Hi guys, this is Edgar, the Looper Man, the VLF Fool, and I'm welcoming you to the Earth Radio Scout video. This is Earth Radio Scout. This is a unit that my son built in Colorado. He brought it here on vacation a few weeks ago, and I went ahead and did a couple mods to it, touched up a few solder joints, and as I was saying in the video before, this one's set up pretty much like for a scouting type guy, somebody who likes to go outdoors, camp and all that. The speaker terminals allow you to connect an outdoor loop, and so that means 2 tent stakes and 100 feet of wire and a tree with a limb, and you can build a really nice big outdoor triangular loop and really hear on this thing, especially since the Scout tends to be out in the open and away from power lines and everything. They're in an ideal position to really take advantage of a portable VLF receiver, so that's pretty much why it's set up as a Scout model, and pretty convenient package. This one doesn't have an internal speaker. It'll only play headphones. It does have, since he put 2 RCA jacks on it for line out, I went ahead and added an 1/8 inch, for you metric people, 3.5 millimeter line output jack. It can feed a computer, or if you have a digital voice recorder that has a line input, you can use this to feed it. In my case, of course, I'm feeding it to the left channel of the DVD recorder. That's why we're hearing audio with the volume turned all the way down, because the headphone amp is not being used at this time. I'm even proud of this little loop I came up with. We took the Radio Shack 273-1380 transformer out, so we had an extra transformer. Went ahead and used it as a step-up transformer and built a 23-turn loop on a DVD jewel box. And sensitivity for such a tiny loop is surprising. It'll pick up lightning strikes from a few hundred miles away, and if the sun's active and the magnetosphere is nice and compressed, I think it would probably even pick up the stronger whistlers, so not bad for a little loop. And since the input is balanced and approximately 750 ohms, I think it is, if you drive it balanced, and if you drive it unbalanced by plugging a tip sleeve plug into the jack, what it'll do is it'll short out one of the dividing resistors. It'll take it down to about 500 ohms, so we're looking at an average of about 600 ohms, so it's pretty standard balanced line input on this thing. And we'll go ahead and pause the recording, and then we'll take it apart and do a little tour of the inside. Okay, I have the screws out, so I can just pull the front panel off anytime I need to. They don't really show very well because of the lighting and the effect of the camera bleeding the detail, but we have a cross point type head or Phillips type head potentiometer behind this hole. That's for the loop load. It's a 100 K pot from the secondary side of the input transformer, so that's center tapped from a middle of a 200 K winding to either end, and that forms a 50 K impedance that it wants to see. So we put a 100 K pot across there, and that allows it to adjust for a wide range of loop loads to optimize the response of the loop. And of course it helps by reducing sensitivity to above band signals that oftentimes cause cross modulation and noise. We have the gain pot the same way. We had a couple extra holes here, so went ahead and put a piece of perf board behind it. You got the screw here and the screw right here to hold the perf board in, and then the pot's behind it. So we don't have knobs on this, and because of the front panel space being a little on the small side, it's better. Usually a pocket knife has the, if I make a shadow you can actually see the cross point. Okay, usually a person's pocket knife has a small blade screwdriver that can be used to adjust these, or a person can even carry a small screwdriver in his pocket when he goes out camping with this thing. So let's see, I guess I'll just go ahead and pull her loose. Okay, we have the typical little cutie style board inside. Let the camera readjust so we can see it. You see the input jack, you see the terminals from the speaker terminal type strip, and we have the typical little cutie or green VLF board. This is an older model board, so it has some places that are a little different, not much different. And we got the middle jack. This is a high impedance input. I was going to give my kid the 4,000 turn loop stick, so I went ahead and put a high impedance input, and then we have the headphone input, and I headphone output, excuse me. We have a 22 ohm resistor from hot to either side. What that does is that reduces the headphone volume to a safe maximum, and with a separate resistor on each channel, that means if you do happen to plug just a tip sleeve plug, a monaural plug into it, it won't short out the audio, because on a monaural plug it'll make the ring connection and short it to ground. But since we have an independent resistor for each channel, you short either channel to ground and the other channel will work. Not much to say here. We can do a close-up of the peak LED, and what I generally do for these, I think they're like 3mm, yeah, they're 3mm LEDs. I drill a 1/8 inch hole, I bend the wires back to the panel, and I use soldering iron to just fuse the wires into the panel, so it's a nice LED mount with no parts and no expenditure required. That's about it. What we're hearing is we're hearing spirits from lightning that's less than 200 miles away, so of course we're not going to do any major sensitivity or impressive range demonstrations with the lightning net near, but pretty interesting level of performance for just a loop that's about 4 inches on the side. And I don't know if my count is accurate, because I took a screwdriver and moved the turns and counted them, so it could be like plus or minus 2 turns. We're only looking at something a little less than 25 turns, and like I said, 4 inches on a side. So thanks to the Radio Shack transformer multiplying it by 11, and then the input transformer. Now, the input transformer is one of the mods I did, because of course I took the Radio Shack transformer out and put this little Tamura transformer in. We got a phone ringing. Let's pause. Okay, I'm back. Just what I always wondered while I was shooting videos, a nuisance call, some form of political call, and the automatic machine cut me off before it even got the message. Now, when we do a Tamura MET-01, or an 01, as you can see on the top, what I do is I normally leave about 1/8 of an inch before I bend the leads. That prevents it from straining the internal connections and possibly opening a winding. And then I bring the wires out to the positions where it'll line up with the holes for the Radio Shack transformer. Another thing I like to do is run a wire across the top for mechanical support. Tamura used to have a metal shield, a mu metal shield that would go over top of the transformer. They don't anymore, but there's a triad version that's the same size that will work. So if you want to use these indoors where you might have some magnetic hum pickup, you can order the triad top cover for it and run your wire over top of the mu metal cover. But since this is going to be used primarily outdoors, I just went ahead and ran a wire over this one for support, and that's how you use the board that's already cut out for the Radio Shack 273-1380. That's how you modify a Tamura MET-01 to fit in the board. Fits quite well, and it offers a higher input impedance. The 8 ohm transformer primary, when you use the Radio Shack transformer, it typically results in somewhere between 8 and about 30 ohms impedance, depending on a lot of different factors, including how you set the loop load control. But these will allow you to use a loop with more turns and give you better sensitivity and much better overall performance. Then of course, if you take the Radio Shack transformer and let's see, yeah, I need to fix this camera here, get it set up, and you can take your leftover Radio Shack transformer and use it to make a portable small aperture loop. And like I was saying before, if you do string a big triangular loop on a tree with a couple tent stakes, you can really come up with some good sensitivity and some really good low noise reception outdoors away from power lines. We're about a minute from the YouTube time limit, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up. But that's my kiddo son's receiver. He did a pretty good job of putting it together. I went ahead and built a good board mount for it, and that's it for the Earth Radio Scout. Thanks for watching. God bless y'all.